Okay, there's a shout out to Corsair trainers. Every Monday morning, I guess it's a coffee for him. It's a lunchtime for me. But he does a live, and it's worth tuning into. It's pretty good. Um, Today touched on sovereign citizens. You think there's no rules that apply to them, and they know the Constitution and the law better, and cite the Constitution. They forget all about the state and local ordinances, everything else. So anyway, I had put in chat that I had some run-ins with the cops, and cited the Constitution and the law, and called them assholes, and always ended up in court. And he's stuck on that, and I was not having lunch. I was working, so wasn't able to really elaborate. Finally said I'll do a shout out, and I'll explain. So here it is, Steve. When I was a kid, my dad was a hotshot lawyer. He really was a very, very good lawyer, very successful. He early on, everybody was friends. It was a kind of a Dukes of Hazzard kind of community. They were making moonshine in the woods when I was a kid. They were making moonshine up until mid-70s. But the road I grew up on was dirt until I was a couple of years old, and that was a county highway. And the highways went through when everything changed. The area developed. I did, worked with carpenters when I was fresh, summertime from 8th grade till got out of high school, and then did odd jobs on the side, and worked for somebody else. I was 17. I was making hay at my grandparents', now my mom's, mowing their grass and everything. So I was always pretty busy. Always had money coming in. Always did okay. I'm trying to make this as quick as possible. When the area developed, the people from New York and Staten Island and wherever, they were moving in and saying, we need more police protection, and they didn't, but they didn't know any better because they were coming from some local shithole. So the mayors hired more cops, and the cops had to beat up on somebody because they had to show what they were doing something, and some of them beat up on kids, and some of them had enough seniority where they didn't have to really do anything. But by the time I was 20, I had been working for a company, and I was a foreman. They'd just give me plans and go put stuff up. They hired some guys I didn't care for, and told me to get rid of them or get rid of me. I'm done with these guys. And they didn't get rid of them, so I walked off the job and started my own business. Figured if I can run a crew for them, I can do it on my own. And I started making a whole lot of money. Building was huge. The highways went through. We were going through an enormous building boom. You couldn't find anybody. The contractors were just too spread out. So I did very well. I was never into drugs. I was not a big drinker. I just was always working. And so anyway, while this is all going on, when I got out of high school, I had a car that was registered to me, but my dad is also Walter Davis. I'm the third. He's junior. The title only said Walter Davis. So his secretary needed a car. He wanted me to get rid of it. One thing led to another. He sold it to the secretary who lived in Newark, New Jersey. And she was kind of a dirtbag, never registered it, never changed the registration, never insured it, never anything. And the first time I lost my driver's license was for about $1,700 worth of, $1,700 worth of parking tickets. In the end, I got a phone call. The car was abandoned. It was totaled, and I ended up paying like $4,000 in towing and storage on the thing. So thanks, Dad. So that was the first time, driving along, doing nothing, and all of a sudden get pulled over. It's like license, registration, insurance card. Your license is suspended, so fix that. And like, what are you doing in Newark? And I said, I've never been in Newark. don't work out. I work out here. You know, I don't go there. Like, well, that's where you got your tickets. And I said, no, I didn't. You know, this is a story. They're like, your dad's a lawyer. He knows better than that. I said, well, sorry. So then some kid gets picked up at a party. I guess my brothers were at it. They're 4 years younger than me. The older one's three and a half years younger than me. Some kid runs out the door, leaves his jacket, driver's license in pocket, and a bag of weed in the other pocket. The cops pick up the coat, find the wallet, find the weed. I found this out, 20 years after the fact. You know, we're working with a guy, and he's just like, yeah, told me the story. So anyway, the person did not like my brother because my brother had a few beers, and then he would start getting a little mouthy and argumentative. So when they said, where'd you get it? He said, the oldest Davis boy. The kid didn't even know I existed. But the police did. So I was the oldest, so obviously I passed a bag of weed on to this kid, which made perfect sense because I had lost my license because of parking in Newark, and I spent weekends and nights over on a farm, and, growing hay, growing grass. So things move along a little bit farther, and cops are pulling me over, but they're not getting shitty. They're just, where are you going? What are you doing? And then started my own business, started making a hell of a lot of money. Clearing $10,000 in a month was not a big deal. And I turned 21. I was in business for 2 months, and I turned 21. Excuse me. But go out to dinner, to a really nice restaurant, someplace very expensive, and girlfriend's got a new dress on, so stopped and buy a $10,000, pearl necklace for her. And her best friend lived right next door to a cop who was at one time everybody's friends. We were all friends. And she'd be like, oh, do you see what Linda got? Got her a $10,000 pearl necklace, and then her stereo broke. So I bought her, big high-end stereo, and then, somebody was hitting on her, so I bought her a, diamond ring, big flashy diamond ring. And all of a sudden they're like, well, kid said he got the bag of pot from the oldest Davis, and he's got a lot of fucking money, and he does construction. All the big builders are all cokeheads, and I guess they put it all together and decided I'm it. And then things, till I was probably, I don't know, early 30s. My license was 99% of the time it was garbage. I ended up working for, commercial builders, working in Newark, working in Philly. So I got, the OSHA experience, birds flying into clouds and dying. I couldn't spend any time around, I couldn't drive around. I couldn't do it. I just, pull me over, tow the car. One thing would lead to another. I'd tell them to get a warrant. I'd be handcuffed. I'd go to the county jail for the night, pick up the car the next day in the impound. The carpets are pulled up. I mean, whatever, the car, truck, whatever. Everything's getting, fucked up. And it just got to the point where things just got nasty. So if they want to go that route, they want to play those games, I'll play those games. And, one town, cop just pulled me over arbitrarily. Walked up, I was parked at a traffic light. I wasn't doing anything. The truck was legal. So I was on my way home from work. And he wrote me a ticket and threw it on the floor of the truck. I had my hand up, and he just tossed it. And so one thing led to another. I looked at it, it said failure to inspect. I'm like, you asshole, the fucking truck's inspect. He's like, just pay, you fucking asshole, fuck you. So I turned around and drove into town, and I saw the only cop car that I thought was on duty, and I chased him down for 2 hours and ran him off the road. Turned out it was the wrong cop. And that cop still remembers it. And that's when that town stopped screwing with me. I had an altercation with a guy who was kind of another town bully in another town. And he hit me first, and I put him in the hospital. I ended up getting, damn near 100 stitches in my mouth. But he ended up getting blood transfusions. He was all fucked up. he pressed charges against me, but they looked at me, they looked at him, they looked at his record, and then I was found, that was it. That was the end of that. But then one of the cops pulled me over, was giving me a jerk in my chain. The license was valid, everything was good, and I'm handcuffed to the rail in the police station for the afternoon. And the chief walked in and said, "What's Mr. Davis doing here?" He says, "Well, he's screwing around, so I figure he wants to play games, I'll play games. I'll handcuff him to the wall for the day." And he's like, "You might want to look at his record. He's got a file in there." Cop looked at it and realized I'm not really that guy. And I never had another problem in that town. The one town really, really just would not let go. It was a township that I lived in, and they would not let go. Anyway, at one point I figured I had to get the hell out of here. I was like 22 years old. I was in really good shape. I was running 10 miles a day. I was doing 1 million push-ups and sit-ups and everything. I figured I'm going to join the Marines, and my girlfriend and I, as soon as I hit base and, get done with, everything. And they stationed me, we're getting married, and then, we'll live together and be happily ever after. And I failed the physical because my knees were cracking because I was running too much and working out too hard. My shoulder made noise. So I was like, well, I guess it's destiny. I got to fight with these guys, and I'm going to win. And the last cops, I was in my late 20s, early 30s, and they wouldn't let go. And it's, it was just tit for tat. I had the judge fired. I had the judge had to step down when the police or the state investigated him. One police force was disbanded. Another one, one by one, I was shutting them down. And this one, they ended up, the mayor put LoJack in the cars, and half the force was not where they were supposed to be, and falsifying all their records, all their logs. So we put one of my assistants, "Hey, you got a problem here, These guys are out in the field screwing with their girlfriends when they're supposed to be, patrolling." And they put LoJack in it. Sure enough, at the end of the month, 3/4 of the police force was fired because they would not admit that they had falsified their records. Because if they did, they'd wind up in divorce court. And I guess I figured it's easier to find a new job than it is to lose everything they got to a pissed off ex-wife. But I finally got them to back the fuck off when they put up a new police station, and they screwed up on the engineering. The parking lot sloped away from the building, and along the back of the parking lot at the very bottom there was one catch basin, and that's where they parked all the police cars. And then they grew corn. Some farmer, whoever owned the land, they grew corn, within 2 feet of the back of the parking lot where the police cars were. So I let a rumor go that I was going to burn down all the police cars and never get caught. And they said, so the idea was, to get a rumor going that I was going to go through the corn in August when it's nice and tall with 5 gallons of gas, some garden hose, and some matches, and sneak the hose across the lawn, 2 or 3 feet, put the funnel in the garden hose, 5 gallons of gas. It's all going to run under the backs of the cars to the catch basin at the far end. Then light a match and walk away. And because the corn's about 6 feet tall, I could just basically walk in, walk out. Cameras would never catch me. Within 2 days, all the police cars were moved up. Some engineers were marking out the parking lot, and then some contractors ripped the parking lot out and fixed their engineering error, and I never had a problem with that township again. They did pull guns on me a couple times when for different reasons. You got to go to the police station, you got to go, and the municipal building was there, so you have to go in, and the cops would see me, and they'd all pull their guns and ask what I wanted. But good times. But in any event, having said that, I'm proud of my son who's a policeman, and I do support the police. And I've never been a big supporter of jerk-offs and scumbags and bullies. And that's what those guys were. And you figure if cops are trying to get you for breaking a law that they know you broke or you're doing, and they try for 10, 12 years and they don't catch you, chances are you're innocent. And that's my story, Steve. Sad but true. But all that fighting with everybody made me the person I am today. And that's it. I'm happy to be me. And it's interesting, having this conversation about when I was a young kid and doing it with a contracting business. Because although I do a lot of mechanical and excavating work now, today let's see if I can get this. Somebody started this kitchen and it never got done, and I'm finishing it up. So I'm kind of back to my roots today. Playing carpenter. Y'all have a good day. Take care.